If there's one lesson Courage the Cowardly Dog taught me from a young age, it's that you'll never be perfect, and that's okay. Because perfection is a really interesting concept. Much like Santa Claus, it's not real, it's make-believe. You know the expression, practice makes perfect? Well, it's a bunch of horseradish because you'll never be perfect, but you can practice and practice in order to achieve some lofty goals, but perfection is never an actual realistic achievement because it just can't really be done. There is nothing that's perfect. Or is there? There are a couple of rare cases where something is technically perfect. For example, the hagfish. The hagfish is just this nightmarish little bastard that dwells in the sea that's remained largely unchanged for millions upon millions of years because it hasn't needed to evolve. It's this revolting, disgusting, worm-looking motherfucker that makes me sick to my stomach, but unfortunately, it is perfection incarnate to some capacity. It has evolved down the perfect path for its environment. It has the most optimal defense mechanism where it slimes itself when threatened. So if a predator comes to try and eat it in the sea, it coats itself in a really thick super slime, and the predator gets a mouthful of cum and suffocates, and the hagfish can escape. And that's been good enough for it for millions of years, so it doesn't evolve. Now, the reason I say that's technically perfect instead of just giving it the 100% stamp of approval perfection is because I could absolutely take them in a fight. If you give me like a barrel of hagfish and tell me that it's do or die time, I'm going to have to beat them in hand-to-hand combat, I don't think I would struggle at all. It doesn't matter how much Nickelodeon slime time they blast off in there, it's not going to be enough to stop me. So they're perfect for their environment, but not perfect across the board. It is extraordinarily rare to find something that is, by all definitions, perfect with no room for improvement across the board. I imagine most of you would struggle to think of something that fits that criteria. But today I'd like to present to you something that I think is truly remarkable. We are on the cusp of legitimate perfection, an accomplishment that, if achieved, will forever be the best it can, with nothing that could top it. Perfection. It's the speedrun for Super Mario Bros. Now, this is a video made a few years ago by a channel called Bismuth, so I'm going to let him explain to you the limits of this speedrun, because we do have the technology to calculate what the fastest possible in this time can look like.
At 454.798, that's the sum of all the tricks that could theoretically be performed by a human, although 4-2 and 8-4 have never been actually completed this fast. At 454.28, that's the fastest possible time that would respect the rules by not pressing left and right at the same time. And finally, at 454.032 lies the theoretical limit, the fastest possible way that the game could be beaten under any circumstance.
For those of you that aren't familiar with speedrun terminology, I'll quickly break down what TAS stands for. It's tool-assisted speedrun. It's using programs in order to get the best possible inputs at the best possible times, optimal frames, in order to find and calculate the best a run can look using the current routes available. So for Super Mario Bros. With the current route and the current strategies, these were the limits. There was a limit for what humans would be able to do because some tricks are only viable when using these tools to slow it down in order to make those inputs. And then there is the level beyond that, the fucking plus ultra to infinity and beyond, where the tool-assisted speedruns can get you even further, but just aren't achievable by humans. That is simply the limits. So if you turn your attention to Exhibit A once again, you'll see the theory limit of 454.798 there. That was the lowest possible time a human being could potentially achieve. So if some kind of elite gamer barbarian warrior stepped forward and actually hit that time, that would be perfection. But we live in a beautiful dimension, where sometimes even the impossible is possible. A runner by the name of Nifsky actually just blew the asshole wide open off of this dataset. They actually just clocked in a run that was faster than the theoretical human limits.
It's AT! It has to be! AT! Yes! 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 Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
That pop-off was so legendary, Hungry Box just felt a tingle and rolled over in his sleep with one eye open. This is a pop-off up there with some of the iconic greats, like Modern Warfare 2 with the "Mom, get the camera" moment. And he earned this pop-off, because what he did here, most considered pretty much impossible, which is why there was, about 4 years ago when Bismuth made the video, a limit most people thought would never be beaten for a human. And this time he just clocked is faster than that. Thanks to a combination of just raw talent and just true mastery of the game, as well as a couple of new implementations on the route, he was able to go beyond that, and as of right now is only 22 frames away from getting a legitimately perfect run to match what you saw on the graph. There's a great article written about this from Ars Technica. He is now only 0.35 seconds away from matching that tool-assisted speedrun, which was there mainly just to calculate what the limits for this game could be. But now, Nifsky said, "To hell with the limits. You best start believing in ghost stories, Mario. You're in one." Now we have a human being that is tickling on the gular sack of perfection. 22 frames away from a perfect Super Mario run. Now, of course, there is still a little bit of wiggle room that maybe 10 years from now there's new strategies that get found and implemented, so it pushes it a little bit lower. But I think that's actually kind of unlikely with how optimized this run currently is, so there's a good chance that what we're looking at, or what we could be looking at, should he be able to pull this off, is a run that will never be beaten, can only ever be matched. It is fundamentally perfect by all definitions. Now, I keep saying we when talking about his achievement as if I had anything to fucking do with it. Like, I'm not his coach. I don't even run Super Mario Bros. But when I say we, I'm talking about the human race. I actually just think it's so impressive that what we might see here is something that will be the perfect run of this game forever. That is just such a fascinating concept to me. I can't think of many other things that fit into that category, and it's just really exciting. So I'm rooting for Nifsky to keep pushing for this. He apparently wants to keep running it as well until he gets it even lower, so that's extremely hype. But let's go over it a little bit more in depth on how he was able to even pull it off in the first place. Through a combination of just godlike talent and mastery of this game, as well as his use of Lightning 4-2. It's just an extremely difficult trick that I'm not going to get into the weeds of, but what you need to know here is that Nifsky used a different method for Lightning 4-2, but saved the same amount of time as the TAS did. But even still, it wasn't something that you'd see being integrated into full runs right away, because it wasn't exactly easy or super consistent. Until a runner named King of Johnny Boy developed a more consistent Lightning 4-2 method, and then all hell broke loose. And now we're here today, beating machines. We created machines, damn it. And now we're taking back the seat at the top of the food chain, baby. 7 perfect levels strung together, which leaves only one left. One little blemish. 8-4. And it's 22 frames away from matching the tool-assisted speedrun, making it an unbeatable, even by machine, time. Unless, of course, there's new strategies discovered down the line. But regardless, this accomplishment from Nifsky is incredible. And he is extremely close and extremely motivated to achieve something that not many people in the world can do or will ever get a chance to do. Be able to deliver something perfect. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. Also, when I think about perfection, this is very off onto a tangent, but when I was mentioning it earlier with the hagfish, I did think of one other example of something that I think is perfect, and it's doors. Don't know if that's a hot take or controversial, but I feel like even 1,000 years from now, doors will still exist in some capacity as we know them. It'll just be some kind of different variation of them or style of them. But a door, I think, is just perfect. It accomplishes the task that it's given without any room for improvement on it. I can't envision something more effective at its job than a door. So I think doors is another example of something that has been perfected, or something that is perfect. Just wanted to throw that out there while I was still thinking about it. But anyway, again, huge congratulations to Nifsky for this new record, and I'm really excited to see if he's able to pull off the perfect run. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah.